Hello everyone, happy October! It's time for Take and Bake, and this month we have Biscotti, a wonderful treat to accompany a cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the morning or after dinner. Let me show you how to get it done. So these are almond biscotti, and the first step is to toast 1 cup of whole almonds. Just spread them out on a baking sheet. We're going to do 325 degrees for anywhere from about 8 to 10 minutes. We don't want to burn these, we just want to get them a little bit more firm and a bit more crunchy, and then they will be ready to go. And while those are in the oven, we can start our dry ingredients. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, a fourth a teaspoon salt. We're getting that nice and mixed up. And in another bowl, we have 3 tablespoons room temperature butter and 1 cup, 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then a tablespoon of olive oil, which is an interesting ingredient here. Get that mixed up. Then we're going to add 2 eggs, one at a time, incorporating them completely until we have a nice smooth, no lump batter. And then we have our 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, 3/4 teaspoon almond extract, both. And we're going to go ahead and add our dry mixture to the wet ingredients, maybe 2 or 3 batches at a time. Okay, so by now the almonds are cooled down here, and what I have is half the 1 cup, so half a cup, and I'm going to chop them fairly roughly in my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, no problem, just put them on a cutting board and get them, pretty small, but not atomized. You don't want like dust. Something like this is good. And then we're going to put the almonds, both the whole almonds and the chopped up almonds, into our dough, and you're going to work it all together into a ball. It's pretty stiff dough. Don't overwork it, just kind of keep it together, keep it nice and tight. So what I've done here, now that it's in a ball, is I've covered it with foil. You can use plastic wrap too, and I'm just going to put it in the fridge for about 20-30 minutes just to firm it up to make it easier to work with. And you can see here after about half an hour it's looking nice and firm, pretty hard. I have a floured surface, looking good. I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half roughly with my spatula. I say roughly because I didn't do a very good job, you'll see. And then I'm going to turn half of it out onto my floured surface. And the goal ultimately is you want kind of a flattened rectangular loaf about an inch high, with the edges not being too pointy, relatively uniform all the way through. Doesn't have to be perfect. They're going to taste delicious. So you'll end up with 2 of these, of course, 1 for each half of the dough mixture. And here's what they look like on my lined baking sheet. And they're ready to go into the oven. So right now they're at 350 degrees. So I'm going to put them right there into the center. And this is the first bake of 2. We're going to go ahead and put 30 minutes on there. So here I am after 30 minutes, taking them out. Want to take a look. What we're looking for is a little bit of brown color around the edge. Keep in mind, this isn't the final bake. They're looking a little pale. So what I do is I throw them back in the oven for I think another 3 or 4 minutes or so. They don't need to be super done because like I said, we are baking them again, but I do want a little bit of golden color around the edge. So here they are, looking a lot better at about 34 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and let them cool down for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to cut them into slightly offset 1-inch thick strips, kind of like this. And then we're putting them back on a baking sheet on their sides, and we're lowering the heat to 325. And we're going to put them in for 12 more minutes. And then after 12 minutes, we're going to flip them. So here they are 12 minutes later. You see they're looking a lot crispier. We're flipping them all over onto the other side. Gonna throw them back in the oven for another 20. And here they are. So the final time, as in the last 20 minutes, it's really up to you. If you like them a bit crunchier, that's a good amount of time. You could do 15 minutes if you like them a little bit softer. I personally like them pretty crunchy. And because I love chocolate so much, I let these cool down and I melted a little chocolate and I went ahead and dipped the corners in because why not? Everything's better with chocolate. And there you have it. I put them in the fridge for a little bit to let the chocolate firm up, and they were ready to go. I hope everyone enjoyed this take and bake. Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, and get crunching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.